Hi, folks, and welcome back to the Star Wars Library, where Star Wars is in print, and I want to apologize for not really being too active on here for a while as of late. I've actually been very, very busy, and I should have specified that. There was a reason why I posted 3 videos, 3 days in a row during Thanksgiving, and it was because this last week was going to be very, very busy. In fact, it was a very busy week. Of course, with Christmas time coming around, people are busy. But then also, our church was doing a dinner theater, and that I was in, and so the rehearsals for that were very long. We did so many of them, and then on the last days of shows, I woke up with a sinus infection that knocked me out for the entirety of this week, and I'm just now getting over it. So I wanted to get back up on here and start putting out more videos again, and so I apologize for the delay. But we're going to continue back on as we go through a chronology here. We're still in 1979, and we're going to be looking at a story by Russ Manning. It's actually the last Russ Manning, actually, and it's called Princess Leia, Imperial Servant, which is from the newspaper strips that ran from November 7th to December 31st. And if you're interested in picking it up, you can pick the single issues up, or you can do what I do and get the trades. This is classic Star Wars, the early adventures. So this will probably be the best way to get it. This is where I've been pulling from a lot of our content here. So this story is not that great. In fact, it's not one of my all-time favorites of the newspaper strips. But to give you kind of a quick gist of the story, Princess Leia is above the planet Felorian on a mission, and she's attacked. And so Leia is in this escape pod, and she launches down below in this escape pod. And it's actually, she ends up on an Imperial mine, and they're mining meganite, which is an explosive. And you have two guys who are smuggling this stuff with Han, actually. So there's a lot of conspiracies here. Darth Vader shows up and tries to get Leia. He doesn't. And actually, Leia, kind of decides to pose as a servant to the woman who's in charge of the space. And this lady is actually kind of interesting, or kind of important. Her name is Lady Tarkin, and she is the wife, or now widow, I should say, of a jerk, Wilhoff Tarkin, Governor Wilhoff Tarkin. And so essentially it is kind of interesting to see Tarkin's death, and Tarkin being kind of one of the major villains of the Star Wars franchise. In fact, he in episode 4, Peter Cushing, who plays Grand Moff Tarkin, got fourth billing in the cast after Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. And so, being that Tarkin was a well-known figure, it's kind of interesting to see, kind of his death from another family member, which is kind of cool. His wife is very kind of a jerk, kind of a not so nice person. I can only imagine that she maybe knew about Dala or something. But she's not, you can tell that she's kind of maybe frustrated with her husband. And part of me thinks that maybe she does know that, he was getting with Dala. But anyways, so the Imperials show up and it's revealed to be Shea Hublin is kind of the big mastermind of this, and he's later explained a little bit more in the Essential Guide to Warfare by Jason Fry, which is a very, very cool guide. I would highly encourage you to pick that up. And it's kind of, again, just another one of those cool things about continuity that Jason Fry did, is pulling a lot of these into, a more of a C canon source. He did the same thing with the Marvel series, which we'll talk about a lot more later. So again, it's really cool to see that continuity there. But ultimately, is Princess Leia Imperial Servant a necessary story for your Expanded Universe collection? Oh no. It is cool for Hublin. and seeing Lady Tarkin deal with her husband's death, but there really isn't too much to the story that I could sincerely advise anyone to go and pick up. The story. That's kind of just what I'm thinking. But could you get more out of this story? Like, would you be interested? It depends. Like I said, I think those are just some cool aspects to the story, but ultimately, I think that this is a pass. It's a skippable thing. Or unless you're a completist like me who has to have everything, hey, it's another cool story. And I mean, I should say it's not terrible, but it's definitely something that, again, you would not be missing much by skipping. So, anyways, folks, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time with another episode of the Star Wars Library.